Good afternoon from Okinawa, Japan, home of OkiSubies. Today, we're going to be showing you a Bugeye Sti that we bought from auctions with a blown engine. After tearing it apart, we realized that it was number 4 cylinder that had failed. We haven't ripped apart the engine yet, but we're going to be pulling the engine in this video and ripping it apart and diagnosing what exactly happened. So again, this is a Bugeye Sti 2000 model, the very first year that they came out with the Bugeye Sti. And a lot of special things about this car. If you watch the introduction video, you know a lot about this car already, but just to recap, first year the Subaru came out with the version 7 EJ207 with variable cam timing. So a lot of new things with this model. Variable cam timing, it has TGV deletes, it has forged pistons, it has an engine that can rev out to 8,000 RPMs, very large top mount intercooler. It has STI pink injectors, which are 565cc. VF30, I think I already mentioned. And it has the first version of the 6-speed that Subaru offers. So it has a 6-speed transmission, also Brembo brakes. Those are great things. But very uncommon for these engines to fail simply because of the forged pistons. So we're probably leaning more towards a head issue, but we won't know until we pull it apart. We did do a compression test and found 0 compression on number 4 cylinder. And so we know that something's wrong. It runs terribly. So we're going to pull the engine. So in pulling the engine, we want to show you kind of a step-by-step on how we do it. Of course, it'll be a little simplified, but we want you just to see how OkiSubies pulls engines. We do it very systematically. So we always, just to keep clutter down, I use one tool at a time. I try my best to at least, I only have 2 hands. Flathead screwdriver, so I just evaluate the engine bay and I find everything that this flathead screwdriver can take off, right? One tool at a time. So I can take the airbox off using the flathead screwdriver, so I'll loosen those. Any other clamps, so the upper radiator hose I can utilize. All the intercooler piping for the intercooler can be taken off using a flathead screwdriver. And so I will do that, and then I'll put that away and use the Phillips screwdriver, start taking Phillips screwdriver stuff apart. And after the Phillips screwdriver stuff's taken apart, then I'll break out the 10 mil, and then the 12 mil, and the 14 mil. And the 14 mil, that's when you're pretty much finishing everything, because you got all the bell housing bolts, the downpipe, all that good stuff. So yeah, let us do that now. So Kevin's got the 10 mil, busting stuff out. So he's got the throttle cable disassembled. Pretty easy, 2 10 mils. And it's got a little latch on the backside of the throttle body. It's got to be taken out very gingerly. All right, again, with engine removal, we do take the battery out and the windshield wiper sprayer reservoir, simply because it just adds a lot of room. Battery has come out along with the tray. Normally on stocks on the Subarus, when they don't have an aftermarket radiator hose, the top clamps are 10 mils as well. So you wouldn't have taken them off until you had your 10 mil in your hand. But no problem. No problem at all. And one thing too, with removing the radiator, it's good to get to rip the Band-Aid off and remove the radiator. It does cause a mess sometimes, and there'll be fluid on the floor when you get down there to do the downpipe bolts and the bell housing bolts. But it just frees up so much space if you go ahead and get it out. And plus, it's coming up. 12 mils are coming up, and so you pretty much would do it. Oh, there it is. There it is right there. the 12 mil. It's a 6-point 12 mil. It has come out. And so now this is where things get crazy, because you could take the intercooler out now, because that 12 mil is going to take out the bolts that hold in the mounts. It's going to take off the blow-off valve, and so the intercooler will roll right out of the way. Then we'll be able to get the expansion tank unbolted, because the power steering line is hide underneath it. So you can get that unbolted, get the radiator stays unbolted. Another cool thing about the JDM STIs, they come with titanium strut bars. How about that? That's JDM right there, titanium. And the GC8s, they come with carbon fiber, which I feel pretty cool. I think the carbon fiber looks a little better, but it's titanium. Really strong, really light. Kevin right now is taking off the 12 mil that goes to the intercooler bracket. Radiator stays are 12 mils. All right, so with the radiator out, which is really simple, is because this is not an automatic transmission model and it's not a spec C, so it doesn't have the transmission cooler built into the radiator. It's just one upper radiator hose, a bottom radiator hose, and then 2 lines that run to the expansion tank and 2 fans. Right, so 2 wires, 4 hoses, it'll come right out. And so we made a video kind of showing taking the belts off, but there's still a lot of questions about the belts, so I really want to show you real time how we take the belts off. There's on the AC compressor, is on its own system. There's 2 accessories belts. One's for the AC, one's for the power steering, and the alternator. We'll take off the alternator first because it's the one closest to the condenser, so it has to come off first anyways. So we're gonna break loose this lock bolt right here, which is a 12 mil. You don't have to take it all the way out, just break it loose. Same with this one that's going through the compressor. It's a 12 mil as well. I'll break it loose. And then you want to turn this one right here. So this is part of the system, that the tensioning systems. So sometimes you get a little stuck. You just got a manhandle, push them down until you have enough slack to be able to get the belt off. Okay, just work it off, and there it is. And then for the other one, the AC compressor, there's a lock nut down here. It's a 12 millimeter. On the older GC8s, it's a 14, but in most cases, it's a 12. And break it loose. Again, you're not taking it all the way off. You're simply loosening it. I'm going to put an extension on it just to help it out. Support a 4-inch extension. I'm just going to turn that counterclockwise as well until you have enough space or enough slack that you can pull the belt off. Just like that. You got both belts off. Now, all the accessories, the power steering and the alternator are both 12 mils to take those off. So we'll, with the spirit of 12 still in effect, we'll take off the power steering pump and the alternator. We'll start with the alternator simply because it's nearly there. So that same bolt that you took, those same 2 bolts you loosened up to take the belts off, you can go ahead and remove them. Normally we would remove them, but I wanted to show you how we do belts, take belts off and on. And then for the power cable up on top of the alternator is also a 12. Nice. And just going ahead and clearing out space. This all doesn't necessarily have to come off. This can fold over with the AC compressor. but there's the cable that runs power to the AC compressor and to the alternator. Just getting it out of the way. Come on, Bugeye Sti. How about you cooperate, huh? Okay, alternator is out. With the alternator off, we'll move on to the power steering pump and the AC compressor. For the power steering pump and the AC compressor, we don't ever disconnect them. We leave them connected. So what we do for the power steering pump, there's 3 bolts total, 2 in the front, 1 in the back. With the radiator in, it's hard to see where the bolts are located, but if you feel that you're taking out more than 3 bolts, you're doing it wrong. You're taking out too much. So really simple. 2 bolts are the exact same length, and 1 is longer than the other 2. They're held in. They have Loctite on them normally, so they're red like that. Shows that there's Loctite from the factory. That's the long one. The other one in the front will be shorter, and then the one in the back will be the same length as the one that we're about to remove. There's also a hard line. That's the pressure line running from it. That runs underneath the expansion tank. We will have to, we will not remove that. We will have to remove the expansion tank. Not completely, just unbolt it. This car's in really good shape. There's like no rust on it. It's really unfortunate about the engine. It had 150,000 kilometers on the engine, which isn't really a lot. So really interested in what caused the issue. I'm now taking the 2 12 mils off. There's 2 12 mil bolts and then 1 12 mil nut down here for the expansion tank. Just unbolting it to get it out of the way. These vacuum lines are so brittle. They're breaking off left and right. Look at this, check this out. Vacuum leaks. And then so underneath the expansion tank where the lines run, they're all held in by 10 millimeter bolts. So we gotta go back, man. We gotta regress, go back to 10 mils right now. You can take off the AC compressor if you like. So Kevin's stepping up to the 14 mils right now. So 14 millimeter on the AC compressors. On the Bugeyes, they still carried on with the tradition of having 4 bolts on it. There's 1 on the side closest to the passenger vehicle. Yeah, passenger on the side of the vehicle. 2 right in the middle underneath the alternator, and then 1 in the very back. If you round it off, what a fun time. What a fun time. So at this point, when you're working with 2 people, you split ways. You just, there's a song like, "It's been a long day," and they split, right? So that's why we split. So Kevin would go and start doing bell housing bolts or whatnot, and I'd do the downpipe, or we rock, paper, scissors, and I would do the downpipe and he would do the bell housing bolts. In any case, he does bell housing bolts. That's what I was trying to say. But there's, on a transmission, a 6-speed transmission, there's a lot of bell housing bolts. And I want to take the time to show you right now where they're located. So to save time and not to be so close up on all the bolts, we'll just show you on another 6-speed transmission where they're located. So on the top where the starter is located or bolted to the transmission, there's 2 that come through here. So 1, 2, this one is not used, it's for a dowel pin, it's right above the dowel pin. There's another bolt right here, and then there's a stud. So a stud is located on the engine and it slides through the bottom here. So there are going to be nuts on the back side, normally a washer and a 14 millimeter nut on the bottom. And then as you work your way up, a 14 millimeter bolt, 14 millimeter bolt, 14mm bolt. This is not used. And then on this side for the starter, 14mm bolts. Also, when we are removing the engine, we have to pull the pin on the transmission. We mentioned this a couple times in the other videos, but it is a V10 Allen key, and it's right here on the side. There's an actual plug, and you slip her in there, and you break that loose, and inside of here is the actual pin that slides into the fork. And so if we look over back on this side, the pin is right here, and this fork is pivoting on the pin. And so this transmission is a pull type transmission. When you push on the clutch pedal, it pushes on the fork, which pulls the pressure plate. And so the pin slides through the fork, which is connected to the throwout bearing, and it slides on the input shaft like so. So what we're trying to do when we remove the pin is free this fork from the throwout bearing so that the throwout bearing can stay in the pressure plate with the engine when you remove it. Take a look at this right here. Kevin is making a combination tool setup just to get that back 14 off. You have to do it this time. Sometimes you have to be extreme with your actions, because those bolts don't care about your feelings. And if they round off, guess whose day is going to be interesting? Not the bolts, right? Yours. Okay, so next up is going to be the heat shield. So if you zoom in over here, Kevin's taking the easiest one off right now. That is the easiest and only easy 10 mil you can get off on the heat shield. So the heat shield's here. Is bolted very well from Subaru. They said, you know, this is going to be as strong as a 6-speed, this here heat shield. And so it's bolted down on the bottom near the bracket that holds the turbo to the engine, bolted on the side here. It's got 2 bolts that are bolting it to the actual downpipe, and another one on the back side that's holding it to a bracket. So 3 to a bracket that's on top, 2 to the engine on the side, 2 to the downpipe itself. And that's part 1 of 2 downpipe heat shields. So anyways, once the downpipe comes off, or the heat shield comes off, you'll get access to the other bolts, the 5 bolts that we showed you in that last video that you watched. Thanks for watching. Once he gets that off, we'll be free and clear to get all the bell housing bolts off. So the downpipe is off now. We have all the bell housing bolts off. This guy's on standby, but before he gets to that point, we're going to remind the viewers, because Dimes reminded us to remind you, that there are 2 nuts on the bottom. Those are motor mount nuts. So the bolts that go through the subframe that hold the engine to the car also need to come off. They are 14mm nuts. And I just want to show you again where those are real quick. So under the car, in the subframe right there is one of them, and on the other side is the other. And this is on the goes through the subframe, holds the engine to the vehicle of the body of the car. So I can take those off real quick. Like I said, 14. Okay, so Kevin is going to drive a screwdriver in between the bell housing.
You just gotta hit that thing. You hit that thing hard like if it was a vampire.
Vampire?
Remember the movies? Remember the movies? They would drive the stake right into their hearts.
While he does that, I'm going to
and you'll feel there's 2 dials on the side. You just have to get it past those dials, but you'll get it, you'll feel it. It goes tight, 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 boom, just like that. Now we take this thing out.
All right, so pop quiz. Where do you put the chain on this engine? I said it in an earlier video. If you can find that video, like, subscribe, tell me in the comments exactly where it is, we'll send you a sticker. All right, here on the engine is where the AC compressor bolted up. It's a 14mm bolt that holds the first part of the chain on. And then the back side right here is where the AC compressor bolts to the engine. That's going to be point number 1. Point number 2 is going to be on the back side where the intercooler mount bolts to the engine. All right. Okay, we're going to jack up on the engine, get these studs, or the engine mount studs, out of the subframe. Got you sweaty. Oh, okay, we got some Defi gauges. Okay, we can proceed. All right. So now that the engine is out of the way, we will hang these accessories. All right, now the engine is out. We're going to take the clutch apart and just examine the clutch, because you don't want to try and put the engine in and the clutch be bad. It's got like 40% left in it. So because this car is going to be for sale, we don't want to put a clutch in it that's going to be bad in a few months. So part 2 of this video is going to be us disassembling this engine and finding out why it's zero compression on cylinder number 4. Thanks a lot for staying tuned with us as we pull the engine on this Bugeye Sti. And hopefully you'll, in part 2, see us find the issue, and in part 3, help us reassemble.